let's talk about something other than winter.
Yes, please.
Please.
We hate winter.
I'm aware of a few projects going on in Watsontown. I don't have all the behind-the-scenes scoops that you do, but one of the big things I saw going on in Watsontown is the skate park.
Well, yeah. And
tell us about the skate park.
We're very happy to report that we received a grant. I believe officially we received it in I want to say November of this past year for it's called a pump track.
What's a pump track?
So a pump track is like a racetrack. It's a modular product that we would assemble. It has bank turns, it has straightaways, and it's made for skateboarding. But also, what we really liked about it was bike riding. Like little kids could ride their bikes on it as well if they're not skateboarding. It's just a neat compromise.
Is it made of concrete?
No. It's a synthetic material. I'm not sure exactly.
And it snaps together like a Hot Wheels track?
It doesn't snap together. We have to assemble it. There's bolts and whatnot involved. Probably a day-long assembly process. And it would sit on a bed of gravel, so it'd be a flat surface.
So you're saying little kids is going to be like a track, like a flat track?
Well, until they get to the corners.
Until they get to the corners.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks. I've only ever seen the videos. I haven't seen an actual because I don't think there's anything like that around us. That was the other thing that kind of intrigued me.
I've never seen anything like that.
We don't have the area for a full-blown skate track, nor did we think the funding would be available. You're talking probably at least $100,000 project for a full-blown skate track or skate park. But then the question is, where do you put it? So,
and that is my question. Where are you going to put it?
So the pump track, I don't remember the dimensions offhand, but there's a field where the old swimming pool used to be, where our farmers market has been the last few years. That's where we want to put the pump track, in that field.
Jess, do you know where that is?
It's kind of behind the bathrooms in the park.
Okay, I know where that is.
Between the bathrooms and Main Street.
Yes, not having been here during the pool era.
Yeah, and I wasn't either, but that's how I know that area, where the swimming pool is. We think it's a perfect area. It's fairly flat now. The gravel, will level it out.
Will it be fenced in? Most of the skate parks I've seen have like the fence around them.
It's not going to be fenced in. I don't believe it needs to be. We want the kids to be able to access it. The beauty of putting it there is the older, elementary school age kids could be doing that while mom is over with the little kids on the swings or in the park.
And everyone can see everyone.
Right, and it's right there. It's easily accessible for the kids on their bikes to ride down to the park lot and do that.
Yeah,
and we think it's going to be fun. And the neat thing about it in the future, if it proves to be popular, and we think it will, we have the ability to change the layout. We can buy individual pieces, add to it.
Was there room to make it bigger?
Yeah, I think there is. We may have to kind of turn it a little bit, but I think there is. We haven't laid it out yet, but just based on the dimensions that we have, we know it'll fit there. And it'll
Will it be up this summer?
So until we can do anything, we need to get our grant contracts from.
Oh, you haven't got that far yet?
We have not. We got the paperwork.
That says it's been awarded.
And we also got the follow-up stuff with electronic signatures and things like that we had to do.
I'm going through that myself. It is.
COVID has affected the grant process a little bit as far as the speed of the turnaround. From the time we order with the company to the time it ships, we're probably talking about 6 weeks for what the company told me. So if that's the case, it should be up this summer.
It could be.
It should be.
Should be, but we don't know for sure.
We don't know for sure because it's right now it's in the hands of the Department of Community and Economic Development getting us our grant paperwork.
And if I don't recall incorrectly, that's not the best way to say that, but there was a really unique part of this process that we spoke about earlier with how this whole project came about.
Sure, I almost forgot. So this is going back, I'm going to say the end of 2019, maybe the beginning of 20. We had some young, not young, but like middle school age kids come to our council meeting one night, and they had a petition that they were skateboarders and their friends skateboarded. I believe there was about 6 of the young men. And they appealed to council to please do something where they could ride skateboards, other than on sidewalk or on the street.
And get hollered at.
And get hollered at, sure. And council, number one, council was very impressed that these young boys came. Number two, I think they were also impressed that they had their act together. I mean, they had a petition, they had a little presentation, and council at that point, didn't promise them anything, but they said, we'll certainly, look into it.
And if we can get a grant, that.
And when I did the grant application, along with the necessary documentation and the narrative portion, which is where we kind of explain what we want to do, why we want to do it, I included in the narrative the fact that these young men came to our council meeting, but I also included a copy of the petition that they brought.
It's such a great example of how you get stuff done.
Yep.
No matter, if you're 12 or 112.
And one of the things I do need to say, Senator Gordner and Representative Culver were both very instrumental in us getting.
They are great.
They are both.
They are
to
great.
Work with. Their staffs are great.
Library supporters, they are.
When I found out we got the grant, I was off. It was a Friday, and I got a phone call from Senator Gordner, and he said, I have Representative Culver on the line as well, and right then I knew. I said, we must have got funded. And they were both excited about it. And I don't remember which one said it. One of them said, this is a very unique project. And they liked, Senator Gordner said this, he said, I like when Watsontown applies for funding, he said, because you don't do it all the time, number one. He said, you're not always asking. Number two, when you do apply, he said, it's usually a unique project. Like our walking track, that was 4 years ago. Senator Gordner, Representative Culver, very instrumental in getting us that as well.
Yeah, it's nice, and they're making the spaces useful.
Exactly. We had a big field. We put the walking track in it, and it gets used every day.
I've been there.
Walking on it. We did a contest 2 years ago during COVID. Watsontown Walks, we call it. And we asked folks to log their miles. They didn't have to do it on the walking track. It was, get folks out, get some exercise.
That was a great little project.
And we had a great participation from the public. I can't remember how many miles the winner walked, but it was a lot.
Nice. Enough to burn off a Big Mac, I hope. So, back to the park.
Yes, we love our park.
We do love the park. It seems to be where stuff happens. So, we talked about the skate park going in. Now what happens to the farmer's market?
So, the farmer's market 2022 will be our 3rd year. We had an extremely successful 2020.
And for folks not familiar with the farmer's market,
we started it during the pandemic.
Great time to start a new project.
We planned it before the pandemic, but we decided at some point, and it wasn't right off the bat, but we decided at some point when the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania said you could do farmers markets as long as you took precautions, we decided to go ahead with it. We have one main farmer, which brings all kinds of produce pretty much every week they're there. And then we have other folks that come. We had some Amish folks come with strawberries and things
seasonal
like that.
stuff.
Seasonal stuff. We have some crafters that come. But 2020 we were very successful because, quite frankly, I think we were the only game in town for a while.
My understanding is it doesn't even cost
doesn't
money to set up a booth there, so that the vendors don't have to invest, but they do have to be approved.
They have to be approved, and by approved, we ask them basically one question: is whatever you're going to sell homemade, homegrown, or home produced? If the answer is yes, you're welcome to come. If the answer is no, I'm sorry, it's not a flea market. Mm-hmm. And we've dealt with a little bit of that. And there's been some discussion about opening them up for
for fleas.
We're not interested in that. We like the homegrown, and when we say home produced, we had a lady who made jewelry. We had somebody who did T-shirts, things like that. We have a food truck vendor who was pretty loyal last year. He came about every week. But 2021, we kind of experienced a little drop off because we were no longer the only game in town. We're back to the craft fairs going on and different things. So one of the ideas we came up with this year was to move, for 2022, was to move the market over to the part of the park that's across from Lingles.
So it's still in the park.
Yep. There's a pavilion that's known as a canal boat pavilion.
Yep.
So that's where it would be around that area. The idea is it's, number one, it's more visible to folks coming off the bridge, going to Lingles on Saturday to buy their groceries. It kind of surprised me when I heard a few people say, well, I didn't know you had a farmer's market. You know, it's been going on for 2 years.
Imagine hearing, I didn't know we had a library.
There you go.
Yeah, we get it from time to time.
So the idea was to move it over there. It frees up the area for the skate park, number one. But number two, we hope it makes the market more successful.
Easy parking, easy access, easy parking.
But the biggest thing is the visibility. That's the biggest thing. Folks that, you know, I don't live in Watsontown, the town I live in, they have a farmer's market every Saturday. And my wife typically goes every Saturday. What's new? What do they have? And that's kind of what we hope folks here get in the habit of. You know,
so if I wanted to have a booth or be a vendor, who I contact the borough?
You contact the borough. You can send us a message on Facebook. You can send us an email. You can call us, whatever. Come in and say hello. We kind of explain it. But the thing is, like, the borough doesn't charge anybody to be there. We pretty much take a hands-off approach. It's a vendor-run market. Spaces are first come, first serve every week. There's no save spaces. There's no, you know, we don't get involved. We've had some complaints. Well, so-and-so is taking all my business because they're selling hamburger barbecue and I was selling hamburger barbecue. I'm sorry. Sell something else next week. You know, that's kind of it's a hands-off approach. We want it to succeed. We think it's a really cool addition to the Watsontown community. But if it's going to succeed or it's going to fail, that's kind of the borough's. We don't spend any money on it other than we've done a little bit of newspaper advertisement. We rely on Facebook mainly to let folks know what's going on.
And it's rain or shine.
And it's rain or shine. And I come over. I don't come every week, but maybe every 3 weeks I'll come over Saturday morning. And some weeks I come over and the market's doing great. And other weeks, you know, and you get a little discouraged, but then it comes back. You know, the thing, I always talk to the vendors, and if the vendors are happy, I'm happy.
And it's seasonal. I mean, a lot of that stuff is seasonal anyway.
And that's it. Like, the vendors don't have to, like, we don't require that you be there every week. You come when you have something to sell, come. Join us. And next week, if you want to go to the craft show in Lewisburg, good luck.
Go for it.
Yeah.
One other thing with the park, because that is kind of the hub, Kids Cafe. We are heavily involved with Kids Cafe. They're one of our main partners. We're one of their main partners. The borough has been very good to Kids Cafe, and they've had a few hiccups this year. Mm-hmm. And I understand you've been very helpful, and you're very committed to that program as well.
The borough loves Kids Cafe. It's a perfect example of a group, a nonprofit organization, seeing a need in the community and addressing it. Borough government can't address everything. We are not equipped to do that. We can help, we can support. Watsontown Borough always supports Kids Cafe. We always do Borough Day every summer.
The borough comes at least, sometimes even more than once. The borough participates. The police department is down there all the time.
Our police department goes down and talks to the children, and I know Mariska's been down there.
Samson's
been down there. It's been a couple of years. But
Samson the horse, for anyone who doesn't know.
Biggest horse I ever saw. But it's a great program, and we had concern this year when we found out that Watsontown United Methodist Church was being closed, because that's who did Kids Cafe.
That's who made the food, the most important part.
They served the kids. They weathered the COVID. They made changes during 2020 that enabled them to still do it. It was takeout then. In 2021, they got back to more of an in-person type. I
work every season, and this season the past season was, half the season was, we call it drive-through, so you pick up, and then the other half was in person, which gets back to some of the event days, like Milkshake Day or Borough Day.
I love Milkshake Day. That's my favorite day.
Yeah, Pizza Day, Minion Day, Pickle Day.
But the folks from Watsontown United Methodist have done a wonderful job with that program, and at our December council meeting, council was pleased to hear that the program has been picked up by another church, and the name of the church.
Holy Spirit.
Thank you.
Holy Spirit, right up the road from the library.
They're going to sponsor Kids Cafe and provide the space for it.
The kitchen is super important. It has to be a commercial grade kitchen, a storage, roasters, crock pots, that stuff's all part of it.
So the borough is thrilled to know that program will continue, and the borough will continue to support it in any way we can.
Awesome. Yeah, and the library, we're going to be there this summer too. Any other projects we should know about going on in Watsontown?
So there's some stuff on the horizon. I don't know how, I'm sure you are aware. I'm not sure how aware your listeners are to the fact that the federal government gifted every municipality in America with money.
Yes, the library's familiar with that.
Yes.
Are you speaking of the ARP?
I am.
American Rescue Plan funds.
And when the first guidelines came out, I read them as best I could. It was about 400 pages. Very boring information. But the takeaway was, we're going to give you this money, but we're going to handcuff you on how you're allowed to spend it.
And they couldn't make their mind up on the handcuffs for quite some time.
And that was it. They called them interim final rules, and I believe we got 4 different interim final rules throughout the course of 2021. It was very frustrating because instead of being able to do things
when people needed them to be done,
right, they wanted us to do, for an example, broadband. The borough of Watsontown is not equipped to set up a broadband network. We're a small municipality. Excuse me. Sewer water projects, we were able to do a little bit of one of those, but we don't have any responsibility for sewer. We're part of the Mountain Regional Sewer Authority, but we were able to pave the street with some of the money. Anyway, long story short, well, let me go back one step. So instead of getting the money out and doing things in the community, we spent a lot of time looking for loopholes and trying to justify things that we needed as part of that program, to the point that, we got our solicitor involved to say, listen, we want to buy a police car, but I can't guarantee our council that we're not going to have to pay the money back. And our solicitor did some research, and he issued an opinion at one point saying, yes, you can buy a police car for this reason, that reason, this reason. So we did. But probably a week ago, they got the final rule out.
Yeah.
And in their infinite wisdom, and I do give Congress credit for this, they took the handcuffs off. And what they said was the first $10 million can be treated as lost income, like a standard deduction on your taxes. We did not get anywhere near $10 million in funding. We got about $235,000, which is a lot of money for a little municipality. But they basically said, now treat it as lost income. You can spend it however you want, benefit your community however you see fit, which is great.
So what's the plan?
So, well, we've already spent some money. I just got a tally Wednesday, I think Brandy tallied it up. We got half the money in 2021, which is about $113,000, $117,000. We spent probably 100 of it already on paving a street with a sewer project, on buying a police car. I believe we donated to the library out of those funds because that was an allowable use of the funds. Trying to think what else. A couple other little projects that we did. But we have another $117,000 coming soon. The hope is that we're going to be able to use a lot of it to buy. We need a new, what's called a T-Tag, which is a small dump truck, which is about $100,000.
There it goes.
Well, and we have a trade-in, so it won't be quite that bad. But one of the things that I've talked to council about, and council has not approved it yet, but they seem supportive, is I'd like to do a dog park in Watsontown. A lot of folks I see walking their dogs. I know I don't have a dog anymore. Our last dog died about 5 years ago, and as much as my wife would like to have a dog, our lifestyle is not conducive to pet ownership. We both leave the house about 7 a.m. and one of us might be home by 6. So we have not. But my daughter has a dog, my granddog, and she takes him to the dog park where she lives. And she loves it because he gets to play with other dogs. And, of course, dog people get to talk to each other. So it's something we'd like to do here in Watsontown.
Any idea where?
Yeah, down in the middle of the walking track is where we'd like to put it.
Ah.
So if folks want to do their exercise while the dogs are exercising, you're nodding your head. You have a dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Good place for them?
I'm excited.
We'll see. I don't know if it's going to happen this year. We hope it can. It's not a big deal other than running water to it. We have to get water. But it's just putting up some
The river's right there.
Well, just putting up some fences.
Bucket system. You come on.
So we hope to be able to spend some of the money to do that as well.
Will Mariska be on duty at the dog park, handing out tickets?
Mariska doesn't get to play. She works.
Yeah, she does. She's a working dog.
So that's a what I would call a cool project if we get it done. And then there's some other little things. It's an opportunity to take care of. Like this is silly, I guess, but it's not silly. We need new carpeting or new flooring in our office, and I've always been reluctant to do it because I always ask the question: how does this benefit the taxpayers?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say that. You know that our carpet's kind of dingy, but if we get new carpet, you know, what do the taxpayers get out of that? Now we did a few years ago. We put new flooring in our council chambers because that carpet was horrible. But that's where the public comes.
That's where the public comes.
So I could justify that.
And if the public wanted to go to a meeting, they can go.
They're welcome to come.
And when should they go?
Council meets the second Monday of every month. That's their regular meeting, and then
at what time?
7 p.m. The fourth Monday of the month is what we call workshop meeting. We typically don't vote on things at workshop, but it's an opportunity for council to bring up concerns, issues, things they'd like to talk about. It's an opportunity for the public.
So the public can go to a work session?
Absolutely. They're open to
I did not know that.
They're not very exciting, quite frankly. But if you have an issue or a concern, it's a great time to come and talk to council.
Is it as formal?
No, it's not. There's typically our council president does not like to vote at workshop. Even though it's an advertised public meeting, he doesn't prefer to. So it's a little less formal in that regard.
Is the solicitor at the work session?
The solicitor is not at the workshop. And that's the other reason we don't typically vote at workshops.
Just to make sure everything is kosher. All right, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back and play a little game with Jay Jarrett, since he knows all the streets in Watsontown.
I know most of them.
Yeah. We have a quiz we're going to give him on famous streets around the world. We'll see how many that he can get. Some of those streets are local, and some of them are far away. So we'll be back. Hey, we're back with Jay Jarrett from the Watsontown Borough. He's the borough manager. He knows all about Main Street in Watsontown, right?
Yes,
and obviously the park. We spent a lot of time in the park today with Jay. So we're going to see how well he does knowing Main Street somewhere. Some of these streets are local, and some of them are famous around the world. We'll see how he does. Are you ready?
Put my old man glasses on here.
Okay, this is a Main Street.
Looks like Jim Thorpe.
Oh, Jim Thorpe!
Is that right?
He is right. Yeah.
Love Jim Thorpe.
Yeah, it's a little fuzzy, but you got it. Okay. Okay, and you can tell me. I'll give you one hint. Just tell me if you need a hint. Oh, whoop! It's changing on you.
That's Abbey Road.
That is Abbey Road. He's a winner.
Boy. Is it Tokyo?
Oh, 3 out of 3. He's on a roll. If you are on the Millionaire Show, phone a friend. I'm telling you right here. Phone the Watsontown. Excuse me. I got to call the Watsontown Borough.
I always say you can ask me anything as long as you're not fussy about the answer. That is Wilkes-Barre.
It is.
Coming off the Market Street Bridge.
We did not practice ahead of time.
Main Street in Disney World looks like. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Glad I got my glasses on.
Jess is falling over there.
Oh boy.
I don't think this is the most identifying photo of this place.
I have no idea on that one.
It's in Europe.
Europe's a big place, J.A.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Macron.
Is that Paris?
Yes. Yes. This is not. I mean, you don't see the arch. You don't see.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
You don't see the Eiffel Tower. It was not. It was not obvious. You know, I guessed L.A. at this one when I did it, so don't feel bad. I wasn't even in the right country.
Oh, that's our beautiful downtown Watsontown.
He's for real. He's the real manager. He's the real deal.
The gem of the valley, we call it.
I failed on this photo also, Jay.
Is that Bloomsburg?
Nope. It is somewhere local though. And it's just a goofy angle.
Yeah, I
It's
guess.
a goofy picture.
I saw the fountain. It looks like a fountain. That's why I thought it might have been Market Street, Bloomsburg. But that one I don't know.
It's Sunbury, but a not very good picture
I
of
don't go to
Sunbury.
Sunbury very often.
Okay. It's only the borough seat, or the county seat. Right?
Yeah,
Obviously, you've never been.
They don't realize.
Obviously, you've never been to jail or court.
They don't realize in Sunbury that we're part of Northumberland County up there.
I've heard that. This is a local,
Is that Milton?
a nearby neighborhood.
Is that Milton?
Nope. This one is Muncie. I actually
I've
got.
never been to Muncie.
Well, here you have. Here,
Yeah, now
maybe
I
the
feel like
3D
now I feel like
experience.
I've been, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you have one more.
Okay. See if we can finish on a high note.
This is in the States. It's in a neighboring state.
Is that New York City?
It is.
It's not a great picture. I mean,
It's
the sky-
Manhattan.
I recognize that building right there.
Yeah, so you got it right. So what did we miss? We missed Paris, because that was a yucky picture, so that
Muncie.
doesn't really count. And Muncie and Sunbury. So,
Now I have to go to Muncie.
yes, now we have to go to Muncie. Sunbury you've been to, don't care to go to there. And I guess you have to go to Paris, too. Paris. So, good job, Jay. Thanks for coming and
Okay.
playing. He did a good job. He's the real deal. All right, folks, we'll take a break with Jay. Jess and I will come back and wrap up, and we'll go from there. Wow, Jess, Jay, he really knows his stuff, doesn't he? Yeah, 7 out of 10. I couldn't believe how well he did. How many did I get? 4. Like 4? So, yeah, Jay's better than me. Anyway, thanks for coming to our episode today with Jay Jarrett and this guy, Jesse, on Stacks Chat. Send us your birthdays. Send us your announcements on the Facebook, on the phone, 570-538-1381, or on the Facebook. And stop by the library, where the stacks are always full and the staff is always chatty. See you next time. That was great.
What a way to spend a Friday morning.
How about it? Yeah, those pictures were, some of them were tough.
Yeah, Paris, that one, I wouldn't have